Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leroy's Tea, where I spill the tea of all things positive and spiritual. Today, I am incredibly blessed to have a very dear soul to join me on my channel today. Her name is Suthanthiram. I got it right? Okay. She is the owner and creator of Breathe With Sudha. And she also happens to be the person who was my coach last year as I was going through some situations. And welcome. I'm so very glad that you are here.
Thank you, Leroy.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey since our last talk. And there seems to be this sense, especially in what I'm doing for the month of March. It's become very intuitive. It's been very a sense of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like it just came. It was like this this burst of energy happened to me on March 1st, and it's like the first thing I did was I had recorded a meditation video, and it was like after that it was like, don't stop. Keep going. And as I began to move this energy forward, it's like I have a list of like 20 or 30 ideas of things I want to talk about. And so far I've been doing good. I've had a video each day of the month so far. And what do we are now? Well, by the time this hits the stream and everything, it'll be the 6th. But it's been an amazing journey. So So welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you, Leroy. Yeah, I think what you've just spoken of, this flow that you've entered into in March, it's really something that's almost in the air. A lot of people are sort of thrown out of their usual kind of rhythms and flows and into completely new territory for many of us. And I think it's really nice what you've started, and I'm happy to be a part of it. Thank you for bringing me on with your enthusiasm and your desire to really bring light into the world. Okay. And I hope your channel does that for many people.
Yeah. Well, I've gotten a lot of very positive responses. And it's interesting because, I mean, even people I've known for a long time, family members and things, and they're watching the channel, and it's like, really? Okay, I'm surprised. I've had people email me telling me do not stop. So apparently I am offering something that is of value. And I am have introduced a coaching service that I'm offering. And this is through the email system currently until I get kind of like my feet wet and see which direction this goes and everything.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, I'd say keep going. Keep going. That's the only thing, I think the biggest thing. Just keep doing, keep going, keep believing.
Exactly. Yeah. I had spoken to a young woman on Instagram who's also a coach. And one of the things that she brought up with me was that to treat your beginning coaching service as if you are courting a woman. And she's talking to me this way. How would you love her? How would you hold her? How would you respond to her? And then find out from that what your niche ends up becoming. And I thought that was such a wonderful way of approaching it. Because right now it's kind of in a general state. But, you know, I'm sure that's going to unfold as it goes.
Yeah.
I would like to ask a very big favor. If you mind doing this with me. I so love the Breathe with Sudha concept, and I was wondering if you would breathe with me.
Oh, very nice. I love that we're going to start like this.
Thank you.
I usually end it like that, but I would love to start and end it. So thank you.
I accept.
Such a small thing, but so powerful. So let's do that together.
Okay.
Just sitting comfortably. Gently closing your eyes. letting your stomach expand, letting your chest rise and expand. And as you exhale, pulling the abdomen in and letting the chest gently fall.
Thank you. I like that a lot. I really do. One of the things, and I guess for our audience to know, so back in the later part of 2021, I had hit a snag in my experience. And it was one of these things where I had went through incredible crying spells. And what was so interesting about this is I got to a point where I found myself surrounded by a series of trees in my neighborhood. And this is probably 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, just before the sun rose. And I asked the divine, I says, I really need help. I really need assistance here. And it was that night, actually, and then the very next morning, your videos from YouTube began appearing. And it was such a beautiful experience. There was this sense of total calm. There was a sense of total joy. I so loved the way your eyes just lit up as you spoke. It was such a beautiful experience. And what it reminded me of is a picture that I had seen many, many years ago. And it was an image of a pebble that drops into a pond. And then as it drops into a pond, there is these gentle ripples that go across the pond. And so as our coaching began and became really vulnerable with you, which was a very interesting experience also, those waves to me, the ripples to me became waves in the ocean and became waves of joy as this process went through. And it was one of the most beautiful things I had ever experienced. And I can't thank you enough. I'm in all sincerity. For me, it has been a life-saving experience. One of the things that I got from you was to create a space within me to honor who I was, because so much of my life I had cut off in service of others, and which is fine, but I wasn't offering myself that same level of care and compassion. And that's one of the things that I had discovered in working with you. And I am so incredibly blessed by what you offer. I think it is the most beautiful thing ever. When I was looking at your YouTube videos, and and this is sometime after our coaching was over, and I'm sitting there waiting, I'm thinking, why isn't more people watching your channel? And I'm looking forward to explode and all this other kind of stuff. It's like, I don't get it. Listen to this woman. She has something to offer. And but that was the feeling that I had through all of this. And
thank you so much, Leroy.
I wanted to share that.
Thank you. It's extremely humbling and extremely reaffirming of the magic that's possible when we connect to our heart, our space of love, and just be present to others. I could say, people have asked, what is my approach or technique that I use, and different questions like that, and I've had to write my bio, but it's just so simple. That when I'm not there and I can truly leave myself behind and care about the other, and trust that, whatever I've learned and those insights also kind of feed into that time that we have together. Just the magic that's possible every single time. It's honestly, for me also, every time one of the most, not just not beautiful, but life affirming or affirming of all the magic things that we read about. It's really been that for me. So, when people ask the logic of how I got to this, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's just, yeah, very touching for me. So thank you. From the beginning, I appreciate your openness to all of this and your gratitude. Yeah, but I feel it.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't know how I come across, so it's nice to receive that. So thank you too.
And then how you said it began for you, that you just asked, you're at this place where you're stuck and just ask for guidance, and how it came and how it takes so little time. Sometimes something so big, it seems impossible and it's drowning us. And it's amazing how quickly it can turn around and the light floods in. That process, something so big, you think it would take so long also, but it's not the case. Exactly. When we're ready, a shift happens. It just happens, is what I have seen, what I have witnessed.
Yeah.
And that witnessing of another's journey of such dramatic shifts that nobody would see coming, same as, with us, what I witnessed, that is what is just reaffirming of what is possible magic for me.
For me as well. I had in a previous video that I did just the other day, I was sharing the story of how I had this really amazing dream about a woman coming out of the water. This is back in 2019. I don't think I ever shared this with you. And it was this very beautiful woman. When she came out of the water, she wore this incredible, colorful smock. As she rose out of the water, she wasn't wet, and I was on a tropical beach somewhere, this kind of thing. And then come to find out that this dream was a premonition of a friendship that I was going to end up attracting. And this woman who became my accountability partner. And it took me a while for that connection to make sense to me. But it was a thing where I had seen her pictures on Facebook, because she reached out to me because we were in a study group together, and she wanted somebody in the same time zone. And as I'm looking at her pictures, and I'm thinking, this woman looks so familiar. I could not place it. And we had Zoom calls, we meditated together, we do affirmation lists together. And this woman has become an amazing, amazing friend to me. This is a woman I mentioned to you who lives in New York. And what was so fascinating about this was that when I finally went to visit her in New York, I've already had Zoom calls with her and everything. It didn't hit me that this is the woman from my dreams until I actually saw her in person. And I'm standing there in shock. It was the most unusual thing. And I share all of this to say that when you become connected with your spirit, when you become connected with the breath, so many amazing things happen. And this is definitely demonstrated in my interaction with you, how you entered into my life when I needed somebody to kind of guide me along, shine little lights here and there and let me know where I was at. So it was quite amazing. And so yeah, total joy in all of this. I had noticed that on your Facebook page that it looked like you had started a new initiative working with children. And I was really interested in that. And I don't know if you wanted to share any of that, or if you'd rather not, because it's early.
I could. I don't know if it's anything the new initiative, but So I have worked with kids in the past, with yoga, teaching movement, dance, theater. I've worked in schools and in after-school programs and things with the arts, basically. I think the new thing that I'm venturing into with them is more specifically mindfulness.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So I'll continue with the movement, yoga, and the theater. But mindfulness is, I would say, the new thing that I would like to focus on with them and come up with actually not only classes, but I'm looking to expand how I bring it through stories and even creating materials and games, artwork. I'm sort of in a very holding space of what's possible, but it's all around mindfulness for kids, really awareness of their emotions and life skills to be able to manage them, for lack of a better word.
Sure.
Or get to know them themselves at that young age, because as everyone knows, it's getting younger and younger, all the issues that they're facing, their stress and health issues and even anger, emotional, disconnection or suppression. All these things are happening much, much earlier. But I've also witnessed how, at very young age, you can say 4 or 5, they can be extremely interested in meditation and sit closed eyes for long periods. And it always sort of amazes me. And even if they lose the connection for years, they remember it and it does something for them. So they may completely have stepped away, at least many of the kids that I have little bit worked with. But it somewhere goes into the subconscious. So why not tap into that more?
Exactly.
Especially now, this was happening with all these online classes. So it, I think, increased all of the issues that were already there with attention and lack of connection, things like that. So so slightly new initiative, but it's still in the very baby phases right now. We'll be offering a lot more moving ahead.
I want to offer some support to you in that, in regards to a story. There's a woman that I used to work with at the corporate job that I had before I was let go. And her father did something really amazing with his children. I think her mother and father were separated. And what he did was he introduced affirmations to his children at a very, very early age. And he did it in such a way where it became a game. And so each morning they would recite different affirmations. And they did this from like the ages of maybe 5 all the way up into the teenage years. And it's such a beautiful thing. And my friend from the job, I could tell it had a tremendous effect on her. And even after she was let go from the job, she ended up creating her own business. She got married and with a gentleman, and they're selling like health food products and vitamins and things to uplift the human spirit. And this is all because of this beautiful work that was done by her father early on. And all the children in the household have gone on to become very successful and in spiritual ways, not necessarily just from the money angle. And it's such a beautiful thing. And so when I saw that on your Facebook page, I was tickled beyond belief to see that. And I have also seen videos of children from different cultures and countries who were learning to meditate already at such an early age. And like you said, how quickly they take to that. And it's such a beautiful thing. And it's I had that when I was younger. And we all had it when we were younger. Perhaps we would have had less need for coaches. I don't know, just reaching for things. But you never know, It's but just putting that out there. One of the things too that I'm discovering in kind of unfolding into this process of becoming a coach, something has become very clear to me, and I think you mentioned it when you first interact with a client, is that you always wait to see if you are a match first. And I found that to be a very interesting topic to perhaps talk about just very briefly, because there was a thought in me at one time where it's like, no, you just go and coach whoever shows up. But that's not necessarily true, because you're looking to be of a benefit to the person that you're interacting with. But also the person you're interacting with, you don't necessarily want them to, I don't know, perhaps drown you down, or I'm not sure what word I'm searching for here, but have you had to turn down clients because you could tell that there wasn't a match, or is there something that you look for in terms of your interaction with a client or a future client?
So when I say look for to see if it's a match, it's from both sides.
Okay.
So when we first speak, it's just a feeling from both sides whether this feels right.
Okay.
So I could put logic to it, but ultimately it's that from both sides.
Okay.
One thing is sincerity. So far, the people that have come reached out to me are people that have watched the videos.
Oh.
So because so far it's been like that,
Okay.
or through others that have either received sessions from me, like through word of mouth, just to people I know. So because of that, there's great resonance already. It's rare when there isn't, because of there's a relationship, though I don't know them. They've seen the videos or heard about me or something like that. Even then, though, there are cases, times when people, it's happened recently, where someone reached out to me and they were in a kind of a very intense, fiery crisis moment and just wanted help to get out of that. And I just wanted to make sure that even if I help during that time, that the intention is to really look inward and to dissolve some of the ongoing patterns rather than just, the temporary issue. And there was that. So we did continue. And sometimes it's a case where there's a lot bubbling up emotionally, a lot that needs to be expressed. And it's not really the time to kind of really dig in, but really to release. And that's also fine. But as long as the intention goes towards eventually really looking, really seeing, then it's fine. And so far, like I said, it's been very, very resonant in that way. You said something about drowning. I think that's a different impression. I'm not looking for someone that doesn't drown me because they can't. No one can really drown me as a client. That's not really, I don't see it as being possible. But maybe that's what that initial feeling out is, as in it wouldn't work. So I'm not able to logically say what are the criteria, anything like that. But same for that person. They should feel comfortable with me. They should feel like there's some sort of feeling that I can trust this person. It's probably different things for different people, but whatever it is that they're looking for, that they feel it.
Okay. And I would imagine too that the willingness of the client to want to work with you, and that would of course be the case with me as well. Because sometimes, and I've noticed this in the volunteer activity I have done in the past, related to being kind of a coach for some people. And sometimes it's like you offer them information, but they're looking for like the quick fix or something. And, I try to be as compassionate as I can with individuals like that. But at the same time, it's like if they're not really willing to do the work, there's a sense of like they're not really ready for it. And I don't know if that makes sense or not. But
Yeah, definitely. Readiness, sincerity and readiness is, I think, probably the most important. I think that if I had to think about it and put words to it,
Okay.
sincerity and readiness seems very apt,
Okay.
I think. And that's why it's possible for these dramatic shifts to happen. Because there's different ways of working. It could be long-term engagements, or what I do is more short-term, really looking to create that shift, the way that you look at things, just something that we're missing. So yes, for that to happen, readiness, sincerity is definitely very important.
Okay. I
And
know
so
that
far, it's happened that way. So hopefully it continues. The right people come. Yeah. And I learned from every I hate to say client, but yes, every kind of person that chooses to work with me. Okay. I've learned from each one for sure. It's all designed very well by somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by how as you got into your coaching experiences, were you surprised by the kind of responses you were getting back, or did it did it just feel natural to you? Or
no, I think initially, yes, there was, and even now, initially I was surprised, almost didn't want to believe the level of impact it was having. I think because I fell into it, it wasn't, yeah, so I was, I think, kind of not believing the level of impact. I know it helped, but the level to which it didn't really sink in until many people came and went. Many people came and was sort of the same impact, same intensity or level. Okay. So it took some time for it to sink in. What's possible for me to believe it. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just curious.
That's a good question, actually, because it's funny. It's kind of like you doing your starting your new project through your channel and the feedback you're getting, and that sort of builds on itself, and then you do more, you believe more, and then you do more, and then the feedback gets more, and you just, that impact just grows, and you come out more and more. Exactly. And it's all beautiful journey.
It really is. It is, for me, it's that sense of probably similar to what you're speaking of, not necessarily having a clear defined thing of what this is, but kind of riding through the emotions of it, the energy of it, allowing it to be, allowing it to come forth. Because it's such a crazy thing, as when I entered into this month and made this decision to put video content out there every day. And I shared that with a few of my friends who are YouTube people and all that. And they're looking at me like, are you nuts? You're going to do that? And it's like, but for me, it just felt natural to do that. It's like, just let it flow, and whatever comes out, and some of it's going to be pretty good, and some of it's going to be whatever, you know.
That's true. That reminds me of when I first started in 2018 with the Breathe With Sudha videos, and I was doing one a day. I did for about 6 months, and I remember that process for me, for 6 months doing it every day, was essential for me to get into this. A lot of things to get worked out. One is that each one doesn't need to be great, just like as you just said. Another is just to get to know your own way of being on camera.
Yes.
And what you enjoy, what works or not. You know, just getting to know the medium and getting to know yourself in that way. That also, you get experience. Really, there's nothing else other than doing it. Right. So I think it's good always, but especially in the beginning when you need that sort of momentum, it's such a good idea to just do.
Just jump right into it.
And figure it out, as you do, and not too much of planning.
Yeah, well, and it's funny too, because I mean, I have multiple videos on my channel already before beginning this project. But one of the things I had noticed, and I shared this with somebody else, um, if I'm constructing a video, I'm I'm doing like 40, 50 retakes. And part of it is this comfort level of being in front of the camera. Whereas now, as I'm doing this, it's such an interesting thing. It's like the information is just flowing out of me. I know what it is that I want to say. I know what it is I want to share. And it's because of this sense of wanting to provide a platform that is positive, wanting to provide something that's supportive, and not to fall into the trap of what so many social media things do, where they go into complaining, condemning, crying about things. I don't want to do that, and I wanted it to be positive and joyful, and whatever I can offer that makes sense to others. It's like, it's fine. So that's kind of the direction I'm going into.
Yeah, I think you make a very good point. When the intention is clear and the desire is strong, then one can flow.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be structured, planned quite as much, or I don't even believe in great technical level also of the output. Really, I think it's the clarity of the intention and really a strong desire, like you said, just to give, to put out positivity. That's your desire. If that is strong, intention's clear, it can flow. It's easy, it's enjoyable.
It is enjoyable. I had done a video where I had went out, this is just after Christmas. I went out to this location in the city about 4 o'clock in the morning. And it was this area that had all these really beautiful lights. And I was drawn to this spot. There was a sense of calm. There was a sense of quiet about it. And I brought my camera with me, and I just said, I had to record this and just say the value of the serenity. And it ended up being one of my biggest hit videos. So it's like, it goes to show that people are looking for that sense of calm, for that sense of ease. And I was so grateful that I was able to share that. And and inspire. If I inspire 1 or 2 people, I feel I've done my job. So it's kind of the way I look at it. And I'm talking a lot.
No, I think it makes sense what you're saying. Not just makes sense. We've experienced it when we let go of the shoulds and just do what we feel like doing, like connecting to what your calling, desire is, how that resonates and it gives you life. Exactly. I think just a conditioning of I need to do this or that or that. And a lot of it is very logical, makes a lot of sense. And it's stuff we have sort of, kind of adopted from what everybody tells us. When we slowly let go of that and do what you did, take out the camera, you just felt like doing it, you did it. So what do you just feel like doing? What do you feel like not doing, but you make yourself do? So if we get very clear of why we do the things that we do and how it makes us feel, then we stop being a robot and stop being human and start being human.
Yeah, that is it exactly, actually, because there was a sense of it was like not thinking. It's a weird thing. It's like I can't put it into words because it's more intuitive. It's just letting it flow. It's just being in that moment at the time. It's a really, really interesting experience, and I'm tickled by it. I am just so very tickled by the whole thing.
Something occurred to me just now, Leroy. Next time that we do this, I would love to have it live. So I'd like to know, because I feel like, I don't know, it seems like we both have expressed why we do what we do, how we feel about it. And I'm really curious if people could write in what is really the kind of the what they say in corporate terminology, pain points.
Okay.
Just what is alive for them, what they'd like to ask or know or hear. That would be really nice, actually, because that gives the motivation to share, right?
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
the beauty of the technology, that we can sort of make it a community, interactive. I think that'll be really nice for the next time that we get together.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I accept. Yeah.
Because I don't know how you feel. I most of the time I'm a blank slate. I don't know what to say.
No.
So unless something is there, you know, to really work with.
And that's the crazy thing about all of this for this month in particular. When I reached out to you to suggest that we get together and and do this talk, and early this morning, I'm going through my mind. It's like, well, let's see, should I ask this question? Should I ask that question? It's like,
Yeah.
and it was just so funny because it was like, that's not what you're looking for. And I so appreciate what we're doing right now. And it's just that free flow kind of thing. There's another woman who is a coach who is on Instagram. I asked her if she would like to do an interview process with me as well. And yeah, she's like, let's do this. I'm like, okay, so I'm tickled by this. And it was funny after our message to one another saying you would be okay doing this. I think I stayed up till like 3 o'clock in the morning because I was so excited by all of this.
Oh my.
and I was also making video content. I had recorded several days and I was putting things together so I can have it ready just to go boom, 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 boom for like 3-4 days straight. And yeah, it was, I don't know, it was this bizarre, only bizarre in terms of not being able to see it logically or trying to have control over it, because I think that's something you and I had talked about before, was learning to step back and not try to control everything.
Right.
And
seems like you're doing that very well now.
Yeah.
A little bit of bewilderment.
Right. And that's where like the joy of all of this is coming in at, and it's such a beautiful experience. I wanted to tell you as well that so often the technique of the breath, I've used it constantly. I've used it in circumstances where I felt I needed to be led. And so I allowed the breath to pull me forward. And that was such an unusual experience. I didn't think that was going to happen, but it was that release that we were talking about. And it helped me a lot. It was like in trying to decide what to do in a particular day, trying to figure out something. And I said, okay, the breath, settle down, be quiet, and then just let the breath take you there. And I thought that was such an interesting experience. And I had to owe that to you as well, because it was different. Yeah, very, very different.
Yeah. Different paradigm for being in the world, just a different paradigm that we're kind of, we're not the only ones, but we're part of this sort of movement of, I see it just ushering a different paradigm where all the things we thought were the way to be in this world, we're discovering and reaffirming every day through our experiences that no, there is this graceful, effortless, joyous, loving, just easy way. And it's what you're speaking of now. It's a different paradigm, It's hard to believe at first.
It is. It is.
Hard to believe. And then eventually you're not surprised. That becomes the norm, and there's really no surprise. It's only when you're out of alignment, when something is not flowing, that becomes surprising. So that's the journey, right? To where we get more in alignment with how it was supposed to function. If the flower doesn't blossom, and that's when it's sort of like, oh, it's the light, it's sun, the day started and it's not blossomed. That would be startling, but we're not startled that, oh, the sun is out, day started, and look at that, it's blossoming. How did we're not so amazed. So similarly for us and how we see the things that happen in our lives when things are in flow, in alignment. When it becomes not surprising, that's when it's okay. The new paradigm.
And it's also not questioning it, or to say that, well, because nobody else is doing it, then there's something wrong with me because I entered into this new paradigm way of thinking. And then you discover that many other people are joining that as well. And it's like, okay, that's very interesting. So, and again, that goes back to this feeling of releasing control, putting the ego mind away somewhere, all the overly logical, overly calculating kind of thinking sort of thing. And just how that flows about the way that it has. And it is a truly beautiful thing. And I've been blessed on so many different levels. What was interesting, and I mentioned this in the video that I did previously. So my friend who lives in New York, she ended up going to a Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat. Before going to that, she was interested in watching these videos on YouTube. And she liked them so much, she says, you need to watch this woman. It's like, okay, fine. And as you know how I do, I'm positive comment, positive comment, positive comments. I do this all the time with everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so her and her boyfriend started watching my channel. And then she started sending me email, because I shared my email address and everything. And she sent me these emails, and she was sending me like meditations and all these really beautiful things. And then the other day, I received this cup from them, and they're from Hawaii. And I don't know if you can see that. And it says Maui on it. Yeah. And that came from the both of them. And I was so touched and so flattered by it all.
Lovely.
But it just goes to show you the connections that we make when we kind of put all the other little stuff aside, and the things that we thought were important and which really aren't. And it's a connection we make with each other. So.
And that there's many people like this completely in another way of engaging with life. And there has always been those people. It's just that we're aligning with that. And maybe I want to believe that there's greater numbers and a greater sort of push by the universe to sort of get the masses into that as well. Not just a few people, but more. It's like a growing movement of elevated consciousness. It's what people talk about, and I want to believe. I do believe. But it's always been there. And it's just like aligning, how you're aligned with them.
Right.
I love your stories. It's just, yeah, all your stories are affirming the same kind of things that we're speaking about. So I love your stories. Yeah. Small things that we do that sort of bring us, and this also, us talking right now. And again, you're creating this community of people, right? Through this, people, whoever is going to be watching this, now we're, again,
exactly
connecting and widening.
It's such a fun experience for me, because there has always been a part of me that wanted to be involved in world travel. And it's not always 100% possible for different reasons. But what I find so very interesting is I'm actually attracting people from so many different countries into my experience. And there's a beautiful woman who was a flight attendant. Her airline lost her contract. She's working at another job. She's from Johannesburg, Africa. And she's become one of my dearest friends on YouTube. I've sent cards to her. I bought some of her product lines, which are these really wonderful t-shirts and whatnot. And it's this awesome, awesome friendship, friendly kind of thing. I love it. I just
Mm,
love it to death. And it's so simple. It's not
mm,
a hard thing to do. It's something that
mm,
I totally believe in, is that there are no boundaries, there are no limitations in our ability to connect with anyone in the world, and especially
mm.
with platforms like this.
Yes.
And to not put a criteria on anyone. uh, Everybody's welcome. Come on aboard, kind
Mm.
of thing.
Come
So
on board. Yeah.
yeah,
Lovely.
yeah. So it's been a fun
Nice.
experience for me.
You have friends all over the world now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I like how I had shared something with you. I think it was at the end of one of our sessions. I told you
Mm.
that I was shaken but not stirred.
Yes.
Now I think I'm a little bit more stirred now, so
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But yeah,
It was, it made perfect sense in that context. I remember laughing pretty hard. I'm not able to exactly connect it, but I remember those moments of lightness. And I remember that shaken but not stirred. Yes, and you're a little stirred.
it was such a joy to hear your laughter, and
Mm,
that was nice. Because sometimes our sessions
yeah.
got a little bit serious, and
Mm,
that's
yes.
fine. It's part of the journey and everything.
Mm.
But
So only we think about it afterwards, we notice it's serious. When you're in it, you're in it.
right, right,
And then when you laugh, then you realize, oh, that was serious. It's the contrast that makes us see what it was. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Um, in all honesty, I don't
Mm,
have anything else to ask of you. I'm just to offer my uh, deepest appreciation for you doing this with me.
mm,
My experiences with you has been incredibly joyful. Uh, the journey might have been a little bit rough at the time,
mm,
but I'm so glad that I went through it. And what really surprised me, and I know this has been some time back, and you've had 1,000 other clients already, but there was this sense of being really surprised when I opened up to you the way that I did.
ah,
The vulnerability level, and I
yeah.
was surprised that I did that. And I can remember even after our first session, I'm sitting there thinking, what did you just say? You actually
Mm,
did that, because I mean, I was a mess, right? I mean, like
yeah.
bawling my eyes out and everything. And I was surprised that there was something about you that helped to draw that out of me. I
Mm,
was ready for it at the time, which I think was a
mm,
big point. And whatever this connection that I was able to establish with you um,
mm,
helped to initiate that journey, and
mm.
and kind of things unfolding from there. And um,
Thank you for bringing back to that moment and reflecting on it, because I think I should give a disclaimer
oh,
to people watching, because it seems to happen a lot. First session.
okay, really,
And yeah,
okay, interesting.
I'm not trying to, again, take away from what happened
No,
in
no,
our
no, no,
section
no,
at all.
no, no.
It's something, I'd say disclaimer as a joke. It's not, it happens every time. But things that you don't plan to say, that you don't think you would want to share with a stranger. And for some reason it happens.
Yeah,
And I'm not going to try to figure out why,
right.
but I appreciate you bringing my awareness back to that, because there's something in that also. There's something in that. And this is something that you cannot say any technique.
No, no,
You
no.
cannot explain. So when it's such a human thing that we're doing,
Mhm.
it's so difficult to, again, it doesn't matter what certification you have, how many clients you've seen in the past, what different techniques you've learned. It really doesn't matter. It's just this, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's as human as it gets.
very much so. It's a very, very strong intuitive sense. And it seems to happen on both ends. It's not only from the coaching experience, but also from the client or the patient experience also.
Right.
That was
terminology. Sorry.
No. I was just going to say that was the sense that I had got from you.
Yes, both.
Exactly. It was a shared intuition, and it's a really curious thing to me from being this person who was always overly logical. I worked in computers, technology, yuck, all that kind of stuff. And that whole experience, and even the experiences I've had afterward, defies all of that. It's like, I was trying to explain this to a friend of mine. It's like there are times when I look at this life and there are aspects to it that seem ridiculous to me. You just want to laugh at it. You say, are you kidding me? You're going to do that, kind of thing, because it's so unnecessary. And I have found occasions where a story I can share with you, and this is just before the COVID situation happened. I was in a gas station. I was going to get like a snack inside, this combination store and gas station. And as I get my coffee together and everything, and this incredibly stunning woman came walking in, and I'm looking at it like, she's really, really gorgeous, right? Long hair, and she had this look about her as though she was overly made up and overly dressed for somebody walking into a gas station. And I just admired that. So I'm at the register and get cash out. She's standing behind me. And I noticed she kept staring at me. And it's like, well, this is curious. I wonder what this is about. So in order to break the ice so she was not uncomfortable, I turned to her and I told her, I said, you have really, really beautiful hair. I was being very sincere about it. And this amazing woman, she reached out to me, she hugged me, and she said, I have been trying to get somebody to pay attention to me for the last 3 weeks. Nobody was seeing me. It was like she didn't exist. And she says, I was the first person to recognize her as another individual. And I was so taken by that. And even as we left the gas station, I was on my way to her car. She was on her way to hers. Hers. We were splitting ways. And she asked me to come back over to where she was at the car, and she gave me another hug after that. And it was the sweetest thing in the world. And just to have that connection, and it happened so honestly and so purely. And those are the kind of experiences I've kind of had off and on, but more so lately, even with all this COVID stuff and everything. And it's just that connection that we make with one another. And it is, to me, it is the most beautiful thing ever. It brings me such joy. And I'm glad I'm able to connect that way, even with strangers, to where they feel comfortable, and just letting them be who they want to be, and being open to that. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful story. Thank you.
Yeah. Wanted to share some good things with you.
Yeah.
Let you know that the things that you do work.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you would like to ask of me? Is there anything that you would like to say, or? And it's okay if you don't. Not meaning to put you on the spot like that.
Yeah, no, my mind is, that's fine. No, I think of two things. One is the things I want to ask Leroy, or in my mind, I think people watching, it's something I do before the videos also. I just try to meditate on what I think people need to hear more specifically.
Okay.
And so I think I want to address that. I don't have a question.
Okay, beautiful.
As much as, I don't know, I just sense that, it feels like COVID has ended, and it was a very difficult time for many people. And you almost have to rediscover yourself and your relationships and how you feel about your work and where you live. Everything is sort of was turning, it was difficult, a lot of challenges. And now we're coming out of it. And we've had to let go of control through all of that. And I think right now as well, things like your video, what's flowing for you. Me, I'm starting a center soon. And a lot of things are happening that it's like we're being asked, invited, almost pushed to go into completely new spaces.
Right.
And I think everyone watching here, not everyone, but majority, just to say that we're all sort of in that uncertainty, in that unknowing, but also being guided. It's always the case. It's not something new during COVID or post-COVID, but sometimes the energies are stronger and it's more obvious even to, you know, the average person like me. So I think just to know that there's a special time and it's really, really nice to connect with these kind of similar vibration people and to grow that in whatever way you're able to right now without doubting it. Because if you're watching this, then it is something calling you, you know? So my question is always that. What is that calling you? And to feed that how much ever you can every day with love. Not just for your own fulfillment or anything. It's just because it just has to happen. It just has to happen. It's for you and everybody, you know. You're doing this channel. It's just, it has to. It just wherever you're being guided, but just to flow, Go with the waves, go with the flow, just to let go more of that letting go. I think that's the word.
Yeah.
And because I'm here and you've given me this opportunity, that's what I want to share, just for all of us to let go and believe more. It's a powerful time. And so let's do that and connect to each other to when we need that, you know, to believe more in ourselves and in this thing that is unfolding. We can count on each other also, growing community.
And that's why I like you so much. We connect that way. Would you like to end with the breath?
Oh, beautiful. Yes.
I think that would be perfect. Okay.
Since I spoke also a little bit just now,
No.
We'll connect the breath to when we inhale, just believing in whatever direction is unfolding for you. And as we breathe out, letting go of whatever it is that you're trying to control. So gently closing your eyes, sitting comfortably with your chest open, soft face, soft shoulders. Keeping in your mind, keeping in your heart, the thing you can feel that is unfolding for you. Inhaling, letting the abdomen expand. Letting the chest rise and expand. And exhale, letting go whatever you're holding on to. Letting the abdomen go in. And letting the chest gently fall. Feeling light, feeling held.
Thank you so very much for this.
Thank you.
don't go away. They're
Okay.
recording. To everyone watching, you always know that I hold you in the highest blessings of love, care, and compassion. It is how I see the universe. It is how so many people that I have connected with have seen the universe. I hold you in constant prayer, constant love, constant compassion. Stay blessed, and you will definitely be seeing me again. And namaste and goodbye.